The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in this podcast belong solely to those expressing them and do not necessarily reflect the OSIP Foundation Incorporated or any other group or individual. This podcast may contain dialogue or subject material that could be considered for mature audiences only. All aspects of how you play the game and the OSIP Foundation Incorporated are protected by copyright and other state and federal intellectual property laws. Unauthorized use without the express written consent of the OSIP Foundation Incorporated is strictly prohibited. If you're interested in sponsoring How You Play the Game, please email us at podcast@osipfoundation.org. Your sponsorship may be tax deductible. Did you hear the one about the dog who goes to the movies with his owner?
No.
So anyway, the story goes that this dog goes with his owner to the movies and sits down and he's sitting in the chair and he's watching and he's laughing.
Is this a service dog?
No, just a regular old dog.
Are they allowing dogs?
What's that?
Are they allowed dogs at this
Well,
theater?
consider the fact that this joke doesn't need those types of parameters.
I'm just kind of curious.
All right, so the dog's sitting there in the chair watching the movie. He's laughing, he's crying, he's applauding the whole thing. And the manager of the movie theater is watching this and going, "This is kind of weird." All right, fine. So the guy walks out with his dog after the movie, and the manager says, "I got to just ask you, did the dog actually know what was going on? Did he enjoy the movie?" And the master goes, "Yeah, I can't understand it either. He hated the book."
That's so stupid.
I know.
I love it. I love it. Who told you that one?
I think I got that from an old I Love Lucy episode.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's like theater of the absurd.
Exactly. Because then somebody has to say, the dog read the book. No, I don't get it. You'll have to explain it to me.
Right.
Yeah.
That was good. I like that one.
Dogs can't read.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway,
and I learned something today.
The book can also be a hat.
A hat. And dogs lay eggs.
Speaking of dogs laying eggs, welcome to How You Play the Game, the official podcast of the I can't even say it. The OSIP Foundation. Yours truly, Jack Furlong, with you. We talked to you about what's going on as far as the world of sportsmanship is concerned. This is the first episode of the month of December. Can you believe it's December already?
Oh, no, I can't.
I know. Well, you know what the good news is?
Mm-hmm.
If it's December, that means it's a little closer to the end of winter.
And it means that I get to start my Super Mario World playthrough because it's my yearly tradition
in December,
around the holidays. Yep.
Okay. Do you need somebody to come by and sing the music as you play it?
You know what? That'd be fun.
All right. Just let me get a dose of sugar, caffeine, and alcohol all mixed together.
Rum cake?
Okay.
With coffee?
Yeah.
Coffee rum cake?
Coffee.
Whoa.
Well, I better not say what
amazing.
I was just thinking because I was going to put the words together.
Cum cake?
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, the chairperson of the board of directors, the barnacle at the bottom of the hole, that is sportsmanship right there.
Arrival cake.
Arrival.
Let's call it the arrival cake.
It's called the arrival cake. Oh, anyway, check us out at osipfoundation.org. We're on social media at facebook.com/osipfoundation, X and Instagram at osipfoundation, hashtag how you play the game. As always, the producer engineer, the barnacle that is on the hull of sportsmanship, Mr. Sean Ryan. Sean, hello, welcome.
This introduction just gets worse and worse.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I'm not even I'm
okay.
I think
it's all right. Don't worry about it.
That's fine.
End of the year.
Fine. Exactly.
It's fine.
Listen, in the grand scheme of things, in that minute plus, whatever that was,
right.
That was a cacophony of possible titles for this episode.
The whole of sportsmanship.
The barnacle on the hull, the cum cake, the arrival cake. He hated the book. That's so stupid. I love it.
Yeah.
Dogs lay eggs.
Yeah. We managed to fit so many topics within 1 minute.
Yep.
It's like that song Instant Concert. I can't remember who wrote it, but it's a song it's a piece for concert band that has over 30 pieces of music in it. But it's like in the span of like 1 minute. It's pretty cool.
Can you write a flex band arrangement of that?
Maybe. I'll look for it.
Good. You work on that, and I'll keep working on the Sherwood Schwartz March. You laugh.
Yeah, no, I know you will.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that.
You and me both. I got to brush up on my my Sousa knowledge just to make sure that I don't miss any strains, if you know what I'm saying.
I'll help you out with that.
Okay, good, because
if anyone knows Sousa and his form in music, it's me.
Okay, good. I'm going to write counterpoint that is of a strain or a species that is a number that you haven't even reached yet. Okay.
Ooh, I have not yet reached.
Sure.
Okay. Good luck. We're all counting on you.
Thank you. I'm just setting myself up for failure, which is also the title of my erotic novel. So,
ding,
anyway,
ding, ding. That is 10,000 erotic novels.
Have you been keeping track? Is that on the OSIP?
Congratulations. Really, I'll have to buy you a beer.
Okay.
It's in my head. We don't need like an attest.
Tell me you're autistic without telling me you're autistic. Okay.
we don't need an attest.
We don't need it. Yeah, exactly. We don't, just like how we don't keep score in baseball games. It's the same thing.
Listen, I'll steal a car. I'll steal sports. I'll steal a scorecard from Springfield, and I can signature and write 10,000 erotic novels. In fact, that'll be your next name when we golf. 10,000 erotic novels.
I thought you were going to steal a car, and
Well, I got to get there somehow. I mean, I have a car, but it'd be nice to have another one.
just for the thrill. Just got to steal one more.
Right. Yeah. Sportsmanship.
The Barnacle at the bottom of the hole.
Yes.
Right here, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, Thanksgiving good?
Yeah. Well, okay. My parents weren't feeling too well, so we just spent it at home, which was fine. Honestly, it was nice to just be home and not have to do anything. So we set up our Christmas decorations. Sarah made a pork shoulder.
Oh.
Yeah. So she simmered it in a Dutch oven for like 4 hours.
Speaking of Dutch ovens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she mixed it with some barbecue sauce and made some pulled pork sandwiches.
Oh, that sounds really
mashed
good.
Potatoes and broccoli.
Hit it out of the park.
Oh my God, it was amazing. Like, it was so good. And then so for breakfast, I made eggnog French toast.
Oh, okay.
So I mixed some egg whites and eggs and some eggnog and mixed it in a batter, and then dunked some toast in it, and with a little cinnamon and nutmeg and some confectioner's sugar. It was really good. And then for our after dinner dessert, I made eggnog with lactose-free milk.
Okay.
Like eggnog and then lactose-free milk, because we don't want too much eggnog or else the toilet beckons. In fact,
There's
that's
the
name of the drink.
Oh, that's the name of the drink. I thought that was the name of the episode.
Well, it could be.
Okay. Not mutually exclusive.
Right. So we made some eggnog, lactose-free milk, and melted some chocolate chips.
Oh.
And made like a hot chocolate. That way, man.
Yeah, really good.
Really, really good.
Good.
Like, totally recommend. And we just made it stovetop, and it was
I find the stovetop, or sometimes I even use the crock pot for like a slow simmer. Like we would do like an adult hot chocolate around Christmas time that would involve like rum chata.
We put rum in. Yeah, we put rum
in the nog, right? Yeah,
in the nog. Yeah,
right. I learned the other day that nog is anything with nog comes from grog, which means rum.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So.
Grog. That was a medieval drink.
Yes, exactly. So it involved rum, and we learned something today.
Yeah.
In addition to the fact,
actually a really useful. Like actually a really useful.
You might be able to use that at trivia.
Yeah. So.
Anyway.
Cool.
That sounds good. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it was really good. We mixed some rum with the hot chocolate as well. So it was I highly recommend it. How was your gravy day?
I'll tell you, it was a blur. So Caitlin hosted my family, and which involves like 10 total people with, my mom, my sister and brother-in-law, their 2 kids, and even my brother-in-law's family comes over. So it's a whole like hodgepodge of people from, across families and whatnot. And, she did a lot of the cooking and whatnot. I did a lot of the baking. Everyone brought something, obviously, but, it's so weird where you prepare for it and then everyone shows up, and then you spend, an hour and a half to almost 2 hours, around the appetizer spread before dinner's ready, and you have your dinner, and that goes by like that quickly, and you're eating it, you're thinking, why did I just eat all those appetizers?
Right.
And then you suddenly take what only feels like a 5-minute break because now everyone's been drinking too, and now it's dessert time. And you got to have dessert and coffee and, and more alcohol. And
you pass out on the couch.
Exactly. And when everybody leaves, Caitlin and I are looking at each other like, we got to clean up now. The hell. And it's like every 5 minutes you do something, you start the dishwasher and then you're just like, all right, I need a 5-minute break. And that turns into a 25-minute break.
When we were setting up the lights and like, either it's because we're getting old or whatever, but like we were setting up the Christmas tree and putting up the garland and the ornaments and everything, like it actually hurt to stand for long periods of time. Like,
welcome to my life as an umpire, buddy.
I'm like, I have to sit down, and Sarah's like, why are you sitting down? We just started. I'm like, I need to sit.
That's because normally I take the cart,
Right.
Maybe that's what you should do. You should use the golf cart in the living room to put up the lights.
To hang up the Judy Garland.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Very, very well
Sarah
played.
didn't like that I said that because it's like hanging Judy Garland.
Okay. You know what? Judy Garland, is she dead?
She's been dead for a while.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure.
Right? Wait, hold on.
Just wanted to...
Now I'm looking it up. I'm pretty sure she is. I apologize to everyone out there. Yes. Oh, yeah, she died in 1969.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. All right, because you know that somewhere someone's going to say, "I don't identify with Judy Garland being dead." People are going to be like, Jack is so dumb. He didn't know that Judy Garland was dead. Well,
it's like Glenn Miller is still missing.
Right. Yeah. So is Elvis. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Anyway.
Tupac.
3. Just... It's not, you don't want to be hanging Judy Garland. You know what? She's been dead since, we're supposed to believe she's been dead since 69.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
Get over it, Sarah. All right. I'm going to tell you for that one, you better get over it.
And thanks to you, I will be sleeping on the couch. Appreciate that one.
Okay. Well, you know what? You go spend the night at my girlfriend's house.
You know what? It's okay. She doesn't listen to the podcast. So.
Oh, that's fine. Does anybody?
I'm probably not.
It's funny that there are, the statistics show that people download this thing.
Wow.
I know, right?
Interesting.
You know what? In honor of the holiday season, if you're listening to this, shoot us an email at podcast@osipfoundation.org.
Perfect.
And just say hello. We'll read them on the next episode.
Or love us. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. We just want to hear that you're alive.
Yes.
Unlike Judy Garland.
Right.
Who's been dead since 69.
And she was great.
Yep.
But she's not hanging in my living room. Don't worry, folks.
She was good in that thing that she did.
Right.
Yeah.
What was that thing? No,
listen, there's a couple of things, and I just wanted to see if people were paying attention. This is coming from the guy who...
Hey.
What?
Speaking of, I'm hearing the new Wicked is pretty good.
I heard the same thing. I heard the press tour is terrible, but the movie is great.
Yeah, so Sarah wants to see it, so we're gonna go at some point.
Apparently there are, what they're doing is in movie theaters, they're telling the audiences before the movie starts, you're not allowed to sing along with it. Because everyone's literally going in and singing along with it. And it's like ruining the experience for people.
I can see that.
So our world has come to this, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. Now, is that bad sportsmanship to let people sing along, or to not let people sing along, and to let people enjoy it?
Well, you know what it is? It's the equivalent of if you go to a ball game and someone near you is constantly talking or heckling or, doing something to detract from your experience of the game.
Right.
It's, people expect certain behaviors at ball games. You expect people to cheer good things and boo bad things and, have emotional reactions to that kind of stuff. But to sing along, that's what that's kind of like. It's like if you go to a ball game and the guy in front of you decides every time his favorite player comes up to hit, he's going to stand up and pretend he's in the batter's box with him.
Right.
Yeah,
that's interesting. That's an interesting comparison, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it also means it's also like if you go to a concert and you're like a classical concert, let's say, and you're supposed to be quiet and be able to absorb the music, and someone's humming along.
Correct.
Which, that's happened before.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, we're not supposed to do that.
Or if you go to see a Star Wars movie and someone's reading the opening crawl while you're trying to read it.
Right.
You're just going to be like, we can all read it, buddy.
Yeah.
I don't think there are any blind people in here at the moment. And even if there are, they probably have headphones in.
Depending where you are.
Right.
I mean, there could be illiterate people.
Oh, send them to Judy Garland.
Will do.
Okay, good. But yeah, no. Or, that thing the example of the concert that you just gave. I had a story of a friend of mine when we were in college. I think the band was OAR came to the school to perform, and my buddy got tipsy and went to the concert, and he was a music major, and he's literally like at the concert shouting out the chord progressions as as they're playing along. Now hear me out.
Is that the kind of concert that you would do that? Or is it the kind of concert to which you would sing along? To which you would sing. You
might sing as the band is playing. You might. I would imagine that most people there are jumping, dancing, and screaming. And anyway.
Oh, so you're yelling out chord progressions. That's fine.
No, it's fine. It's just a story that you and I would appreciate from a very particular point of view, from a certain point of view, if you will. So what I told you is true from a certain point of view.
That's great.
Yeah,
I think that's awesome.
That's the answer to the statement. Tell me you're autistic without telling me you're autistic. Right.
That's one of the many answers.
One of the many. Yep. So
what were we talking about?
I don't know. You were hanging Judy Garland, right?
Yeah.
So anyway,
that was an interesting little take on sportsmanship. By the way,
it really was. It really was. We didn't expect to do that.
No.
The idea.
Surprise! You got another one out of us. Freebie.
Everyone who's listening is going to get a bill right now.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to pay it. But you can Venmo. Your
insurance
us.
Covers it.
Exactly. Yeah. You can pay us via PayPal or Venmo or whatever, and just say like, "Oh, okay, I get it." But you didn't expect that, but here we are. Anyway, what we were planning on doing today, and now we don't have to do as much of it because we've just done all this other stuff.
Right.
Is being that it was just Thanksgiving and it's now the holiday season. I had the idea of let's kind of just give a shout out with which we must shout. To the people. I'll wait till you get it all out of your system. Yeah.
I didn't expect that one. That's good.
You don't want to expect
another
the Spanish Inquisition.
We'll build them which we will build them.
Yep. We're going to wake up.
It's exhausting.
We're going to wake up. We're going to check the OSIP bank account. It's going to be like that part in Office Space where they have all the money in the account and like, uh-oh, we have literally become millionaires overnight because we're now billing people.
People want us to be quiet.
Exactly. This is the OSIP version of having a no fans account, okay? Right. For no fans only,
Only. Oh God, that was only a fourth.
Oh man, how dare you?
I know.
So anyway, I had this idea, and we're going to do this very briefly now because we're running out of time. We want to mention and out with which we must shout to the unsung OSIP heroes that we've encountered. and I was kind of thinking about this kind of, in the idea of, oh, should we be giving thanks for these people and whatnot? And I said, you know what, there are people out there who, whether they know it or not, really allow us, they're catalysts that allow us to do our job. They embody good sportsmanship, whether they know it or not. It's really just about treating people the right way, especially in environments where athletics or competition may be directly or indirectly involved. It's a lot. It's just stuff where you appreciate going to work for these people, if you will, or encountering these people in some way, because they make our job that much better. It's just a lot easier to appreciate what they do. And I think that we just want to kind of give them, an honorable mention here on the show, so that they know, that, if we don't tell them enough how thankful we are for them, this is another time for us to do that. So we just kind of randomly came up with a couple of ideas and whatnot. And I'm sure that as we're going through this, maybe a few other names will pop up, and I wouldn't be surprised at a certain point if one of us says to the other one, you want to thank that person? That person's terrible, So, if we really want to like knock people down a few pegs, we can do that as well,
Fun. That's what the holidays are all about, which all the holidays are.
That's what sportsmanship friends do. So,
yeah.
So the first one that came into my mind, and I think you'll really agree with this one. A couple of the guys who work at the golf course where we play, Gary and Matt come to mind. Some of the there's a good chunk of guys who work out either maintenance on the course or with the golf carts and whatnot. It just makes our experience when we go to play golf that much better, because they for the most part treat us the way that we would want to be treated. Yeah. And, and they're able to just kind of chill with us and enjoy the time with us. And, they've really gotten to know us, and we've gotten to know them. And I mean, hell, Matt comes out to some of my gigs now, with his wife to enjoy some music and whatnot. And it's just, it's really, really, it almost makes me sad when we get to winter, and that it's like, I got to wait for the weather to warm up a little bit before I go see these cats, I think
Gary also invited us in for a beer, didn't he?
I think so.
At the end of a round.
Yeah. He said, come on in,
Yeah. Yeah. And he didn't have to do that.
Exactly.
Like, he works there. Like, he could have easily closed up shop and went home, but he was like, yeah, come on in.
Yeah. It was sometimes it's a very lonely profession. You're the only guy back there. And you got to run the counter and the bar, serve hot dogs, pour beers,
right?
Deal with unruly customers, and so it's a thankless job, and but it's we really appreciate them. They make it very much enjoyable to drive down there and hang out.
And I think they've fostered a really nice community of people down there, because it's not, golf isn't about golf. A lot of the times it's about spending time with your buddies, spending time with your family, friends, and just, being outside and losing balls and having fun and, cracking jokes and
hitting your head on the cart.
And, when I want to say something about golf that a lot of people who don't know about it and they dismiss it and think, oh, it's a rich white man's sport.
Right.
And I'm like, first of all, people play golf all around the world. So no, it's not. Right. And yeah, it was invented by white people in Scotland, like 600 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. But it's beyond that. It's gotten beyond, like, you have golf at the professional level all the way down to the municipal level, and it can be an affordable activity. Like anything can be, if you just budget correctly and you go to the right places. And, like, I know we have memberships that last the whole year that are very affordable.
Very much so.
And these guys make it an even better experience. These guys make us want to spend money.
Right.
So it's like the experience has to be really good for that to happen.
And that's the case in
they go
any
above
business.
and beyond.
Yeah.
Right, of course. But like I said, these guys have fostered a sense of community and belonging, and it's a pleasure each time
Yeah.
I'm there. You know, it's it's great, and is it the best course in the world? No, but it's not what it's about. It's about the camaraderie and the fun times that you share with each other, and that's really that's sort of a microcosm of the holidays, right?
Right.
So,
exactly.
So it's a perfect lead into
right.
that.
And the other part too is that at that course and at that setting, they have somewhat reduced the amount of ego and or tension socially that can come with the experience of playing golf. You know, if you go to a lot of other public courses, especially the ones that are owned and operated by like a county or something like that, you know, there are always employees there who work as starters and rangers and this, that, the other, and whatnot. And, you know, and granted, we understand that, you know, you've got to, you know, kind of keep the game moving and make sure everything's going, you know, like and whatnot. But there are a lot of cats who take that too seriously.
Right.
You know, and that can be the difference between a good golf experience and a bad golf experience.
Right.
And there are a lot of places where you and I are just kind of like, yeah, we're not really going out of our way to play those courses because we're just like, it's not, you go there and you're just like, I don't want to have to deal with this.
Even when we were in Nevada, when we were not at Wolf Creek, the other course, I can't think of the name of it, but we were behind a group of guys who were taking their time. And then the people behind us were hitting into us.
And that was like a 5-some or a 6-some that were hitting into us.
And they did it more than once.
Right.
I actually had to turn around and say, hey, can you wait a little bit? That almost hit me. This is the second time.
Right.
Like, you know, I don't want to like be an asshole about this, but, you know, can you wait?
We'd prefer not to die.
And then the ranger came up and said, and I thought he was going to reprimand the group in front of us.
Right.
But he came up to us and said, you guys are taking too long. I'm like, but there are literally 6 people behind us.
Exactly.
You drove past a 6-some. Like,
right.
That's not allowed.
Right.
But here's the good point. Here's the good part of sportsmanship. When we were on, I think the 16th or 17th hole, he could see that there was a backup in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, this is what you yelled at us for. This is that for which you yelled at us.
Right. We moving along now?
And he's, we're moving along now. And he's like, my mistake. Sorry.
Yep.
And I'm like, it's all right. You know, but look at the situation before you make a judgment next time.
Yeah.
Because I was upset by that. And that's enough to ruin it. That's enough to ruin the round.
Yeah. I mean, there are people sometimes who take it so seriously when they're working for these courses. Like, you know, I remember playing around once where a friend of mine came with me and everything was fine. The only thing was his shirt did not have a collar on it. Literally everything else was fine. And they reprimanded him for not having a collar on the shirt. And I'm looking at the shirt and I'm like, the shirt doesn't say like, I hate Jews or anything like that.
Right.
You know, it's just a normal shirt. Right. You know, and if you're going to be, you know, and I get it. Okay, you as a club, you're allowed to have whatever dress code you want. We're allowed to, you know, do all these different things and whatnot. But there's a right way and a wrong way to go about it. And in that scenario, they went about it the wrong way. Yeah. And they just said, you know, they what they could have said was, you know, even pulled them aside and just say, hey, next time you come here, do you mind wearing a collared shirt? It's kind of our dress code, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
You know, instead of reprimanding him right in front of everybody.
Was the clubhouse nice?
At this place?
Yeah.
No, it was Gambler Ridge.
Oh. So all right. So this is what I don't understand. When you're golfing with someone else, the only other people that know that you don't have a collar are the people you're playing with.
Right.
And with whom you are playing. people all around you are at least 100 yards away.
Right.
They're not going to see you with a collar or without a collar.
Right.
So it's like, all right, I mean, and then even if you're grouped with someone, what is the other group going to say? Hey, this person doesn't have a collar, kick
Right.
them out. Like, I mean, I get it, dress codes, and you're right. Yeah, you pull them aside discreetly and say,
Yeah.
hey, just in the future, like, we'll let you go this time, but next time if you golf here, just put a collar on.
Right.
Like, it's not a big deal. It's not a deal breaker. Just
Right.
if it happens once, it happens once. Now, if he comes back again and he still doesn't have a collar, say, hey, you know,
We told you last time.
I do remember us telling you,
Yeah.
you know. So I mean, at that point,
And the other part of it too is, like you
sell
said,
collared shirts.
who, the course?
Yeah,
They might. You know, if it's that big of a deal, go in and buy one.
that's what I was gonna say. So
Yeah.
if you are supplying the shirts and people can buy them, then you can say that.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you don't have any available,
Right.
I'm sorry. Like,
Right. But you made a good point there in that it's about the clubhouse too.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're at a country club where when you walk in to the clubhouse, you know, it's a little bit more formal and whatnot, that makes a difference.
Right.
You know?
Like Wolf Creek, for
Exactly.
example.
You know, you go in there, okay, so you know that people are going to be kind of dirty and sweaty from playing golf, which
Right.
which you expect, but you also
You can
recognize
read the room.
right,
like-
exactly. But you can also recognize that even though people might have hats on and things like that, if they're wearing the collared shirt and, you know, a khaki pair of shorts or pants or something like that, you know, the whole thing is, hey, they were just playing golf and they're here for the meal and whatnot. They still look appropriate for the most part, you know. So there's a method to the madness.
Right.
You know,
And the people at Wolf Creek were really nice too. It's like,
God, yeah.
they gave us, they were, you know, they were very accommodating. But you know, here's the thing though, if you act accommodating and in your place looks as professional as Wolf Creek, which is the best golf course I've ever played, people are going to go out of their way to look
Right.
nice.
Exactly.
You won't even need a dress code.
Right.
Because, you know, you go in and it's like, wow, all right, I'm in this swanky place. Like, yeah, I better look nice. Like,
Right.
It's like an unspoken rule almost.
Right.
Even though there is one, but it's like you play golf at Wolf Creek, one of the top 10 courses in the world. You're going to wear a collared shirt. That's understood,
Yeah.
right?
You might even wear a tuxedo at that point. Yeah.
Golfing in the tuxedo. Well,
Yep.
Get an extra loose one.
Just wear the fat
Fat
pants
I
on
am.
Thanksgiving, you know?
What's that?
Just wear the fat pants we all wear at Thanksgiving, you know?
Love those.
See? So yeah, so that was the first thanks that I would like to give.
Okay.
In terms of that. The other I wanted to kind of tip my hat also to some of the schools that have let us in. You know, to Nate Moore and everyone over at Delaware Township School. They're probably the most involved with us now. I think they've even surpassed some of the other schools that we've had for a long time, because they're allowing us. They're not only doing the Sportsmanship Awards, but we're coming in for clinics, you know, and you know they're just really, really so grateful and so accommodating. And you know, you walk in and trying to get into a school these days is, you know, very, very difficult with all the security measures and whatnot.
Right.
But with me, they see me, you know, you scan your license, you know, get the printout, you get a lanyard, and boom, hey Jack, how are you? Great to see you. Blah, blah,
Right.
you know, so they're you know, and that again, the same idea of how you know, these people go out of their way to make it a good experience, and that makes us want to come back.
Right.
You know, that makes us want to go above and beyond. And that's not to disparage any of the other schools that have had us for
Sure.
clinics or awards or anything like that.
Right.
That we appreciate them as well. You know, it's just that, you know, I've just noticed that, you know, it's a very kind, warm environment there. And, you know, as appreciative as I am of all of these schools that have, you know, kind of welcomed us, that's just the one that kind of stands out the most as, you know, you guys make me want to keep on keeping on here.
Yeah.
You know,
That's great. That's great. I actually have one.
Okay, let me hear it.
I got one. So, in your jazz ensemble,
Mm-hmm.
Brian, trumpet.
Alina?
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about Brian.
So he's a trumpet player who joined the community jazz ensemble, oh gosh, 3 or 4 years ago,
Yeah, it was right after COVID.
right after COVID. And from what I remember, he was really struggling,
Yeah.
having a hard time. And, he didn't let his ego get in the way.
Mm-hmm.
He admitted he needed help, and he sought you out.
Yep.
Said, I need help. Can you help me? I will practice. I will get to where I need to be. And now he's killing it.
Absolutely.
Like in a community music ensemble, which is in effect a team,
Mm-hmm.
you need humility.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what level of performance. It could be professional, it could be amateur, it doesn't matter. You are a musician, you are part of a team. And if you are lying about your musical experience, like some people have,
Mm-hmm.
you are detracting from the team as a whole.
Right.
And when you don't admit that you need help, and three of the most difficult things to say is, I'm sorry, I need help, and Worcestershire sauce.
Right, exactly.
As you say.
As I say.
But he admitted that he needed help, and he improved himself, and he's killing it now.
Yeah.
And, sportsmanship, one of the important things about sportsmanship is the ability to communicate effectively.
Right.
And admit your weakness and find a way to fix it
Mm-hmm.
with someone else. Right. And this guy really came through, is a great addition to our organization. And, because of his honesty and because of his work ethic, he's a fantastic addition to the group.
Agreed.
And has been a fantastic part of the group, an asset to the group. And I've told you this before regarding music. I would rather have an ensemble full of mediocre musicians with stellar egos, like not stellar as in like I'm the best, but like with egos that are tempered.
Right.
Like
doing things the right way.
Like I need to work on this.
Yep.
Than an ensemble full of A-class musicians who are assholes.
Yep.
Because I want one that's not challenging. I want a little bit of a challenge. I want, not that, I don't want to teach people how to read music.
Right.
But at the same time, I want people who admit that they need help. Like Crystal in our orchestra.
Right.
She's taking weekly lessons with me.
Mm-hmm.
She's great. She needs a lot of work, but she's willing to practice.
Right.
And I told her, look, if you can't play everything, don't worry about it. She's here. She's practicing. She's effectively contributing to the group. But look, it doesn't take much.
Right.
Right. It doesn't take much to just try a little bit. Right. They say that, 10 things that don't take talent: being on time. Right. Putting in effort. Right. Doing a little extra. That doesn't take talent.
Right. Right.
And that's another facet of sportsmanship.
Very much so. Very much so.
And you can apply it to any facet of teamwork, whether it's a musical ensemble, whether it's a baseball team, whether it's a corporation,
right? Whether
it's a business,
you're building towards the same goal,
right? So it's all about effective communicating and being able to understand one another and come to an agreement, come to a compromise, right? Realizing your own weaknesses and shortcomings and knowing how to work on them, and accepting constructive criticism.
Well, what's I think really important about what you've said is that the ability to communicate is a huge part of that, because when you look at, if you look at the musicians that are in all of our ensembles, okay, first of all, the ones who can communicate the best are the most pleasurable. Right. They make you want to work harder. They make you want to have fun. And they're the ones who probably travel the most in their musical journey. You see where they start, you see where they finish, and you're like, wow, did you ever think that you could do that?
Yeah.
You know, and when they realize that, they're like, oh man, you're right. You know, you mentioned Brian. I mean, I think that's a great example of, you know, if I were to, you know, say, hey, look, let's go back to 2021 or whenever you joined and where you were as a trumpet player then and where you are now. You know, you may in the moment, you know, you may still think that you have certain shortcomings and you're not where you want to be. But when you consider the journey that you've taken, okay, that's insane. That's amazingly good.
Right.
And there are a lot of we could go through all of the ensembles and look at each person, and we could tell you like why this person is you know, an unsung hero, or why this person might not even come into that, you know, when it comes to just their communication skills, you know, and how that plays a very, very large role in this whole thing.
Well, even one of our board members, Don.
Yep.
He's a great example, you know, stepping up for us.
Yep.
I don't know if you want to talk about him for a little bit.
Well, I'll tell you, with Don's son plays in our groups. His son was one of my students when I was still teaching in college. And, you know, when his son got involved, he kind of stepped in and said, you know, I loved when you were teaching my son in school, and now you're all part of this big thing. This brings me so much joy. You know, he's a financial supporter of the charity, and now he can effectively communicate and help us come up with ideas.
Yeah.
And be a sounding board, and he's very understanding. He filters in a lot of information. You know, I think one of the things that makes him so effective is that you know, he'll make a point and do so in a way where he says, I'm not, you know, I may not be 100% married to this, where it's I have to do this, or this is the only way to do it. This is what I'm seeing and feeling right now, you know, and if someone wants to, you know, kind of offer another thought, that, you know, I'm open to hearing that, because, you know, I want to make sure I consider all options. And it's through that we get a lot of the best decisions. We get a lot of the best compromises.
Right.
You know, it's really fascinating how that has worked. And there are a lot of cats who, I mean, again, I don't know if we can call it a direct correlation, but the ones who communicate the best, the ones who keep their egos at bay, the ones who can laugh, the ones who can, you know, not be awkward and you know, and whatnot, those are the ones that, you know, have the most, I think, get the most out of the experience, and are the ones that grow the most. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Excellent. So I think that's a great, you know, we make a great connection. You know, a lot of people say in high school, you either just do music or you do sports. You did both.
I did both. Yeah.
But they have so much in common. People don't realize.
In fact, you should be doing both, or if you can be in both the arts and the athletics, you should be doing both, because it's meant to be educational. Yeah. You know?
Except the only difference is one involves macro mechanics and the other involves micro mechanics.
Exactly.
But the goal is still the same. You want to be the best that you can be. You want to practice. You want to put your all into it. I mean, it's a universal concept, sportsmanship, that can apply to both sides of academic and sports. It's just unfortunate that a lot of schools prioritize sports over the arts.
Right.
I think both should be equally supported.
Agreed. Agreed.
You know, that's a bad part of that's a bad part of sportsmanship.
Right.
People are not willing to learn about what it takes to be in a marching band, or what it takes to be as part of a musical ensemble. There was a principal, I can't remember, it may have been in New Jersey. This was maybe like 10 years ago. There's a middle school principal who took up the viola and played with the school orchestra, and played with, like, from 6th grade up to 8th grade, like, went up with the kids into the higher levels of the orchestra, spent the time to learn the instrument, And this was a principal. This was like I think assistant principal or a principal who would sit in an orchestra and follow along and play and learn and take private lessons. And this guy was a sports guy. And he went out of his way into his, out of his comfort zone. And thanks to him, the school gets all this, I can't remember what school it was, gets all this funding now for the arts.
Right.
Because people just need to know what it's like to be involved in it.
Right.
And I think when you look at that and you dissect it and you say when you look at sportsmanship, it doesn't take much. All it takes is for one act of kindness.
Mm-hmm.
Just talking to someone. Just go out of your comfort zone for just a second.
Yeah, saying hello to your opponent, saying hello to an official.
Right.
Getting on first base and saying to the first baseman, "Hey, how are you? Nice to see you."
They're humans.
Yeah.
Right? So it's just So it's all about communication.
Yeah. That reminds me of a story of when again back when I was a college professor, and we would have ensemble rehearsals, and you give out the syllabus on the first day, and that lays out kind of the expectations and the days and dates that when you're rehearsing and performing and whatnot. And we would have every now and then we would have some athletes who would be in the groups, and they would say to me, like, well, what should I do about the fact that I'm involved in this sport and this, that, the other, blah, blah, blah. And I said, look, the syllabus clearly defines, when our class meets and what the responsibilities are. Okay. You need to then go to your coach and say, look, I need the equivalent of whatever your syllabus is, the schedule, so that I can see when we practice and when we have games and stuff like that. And just compare them, and let's sit down and see where they overlap.
Right.
And if the athletic department can provide, like a written excuse letter or whatever, in enough advance notice, for certain things, I'll excuse you.
Right.
It's when you don't take the initiative. It's when you tell me the week of that you can't make the dress rehearsal. Those are the things that drive people like us nuts.
Right.
So
right. No matter how good they may be.
Correct. Because it's about the communication, it's about the teamwork, it's about all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Well, this was good.
Yeah.
I think
we came up with good examples. I didn't think I would come up with any. And here we go.
And the other part too is that doesn't mean that there aren't other unsung heroes.
Right.
It's just that we kind of talked for an hour and, feel like we need to get back to our real lives now.
Yes.
So, well, that was good. So glad your holiday season has not smacked you in the face yet.
Yet.
Give it time.
No, it will.
Yeah, it will. Mm-hmm. Oh, it will. Yeah. So thank you as always.
And you as well. I'm sorry. I thought you were thanking. I thought you were thanking. I thought you were thanking the audience.
No, I was thanking you.
Oh wow.
Now I'll thank the audience.
Okay.
Hey, audience, screw you. Okay. No, I'm kidding.
And we're
canceled. Yep. Oh man. As always, check us out online at osipfoundation.org. You can email the show, and please do to let us know you're listening using the address podcast@osipfoundation.org, and we'll read some emails on our next show if they come in. Otherwise, we're just talking into open space. Facebook.com/osipfoundation, X and Instagram @osipfoundation, hashtag how you play the game. And we'll talk to everybody in just a few short weeks. And until then, treat each other with respect. How You Play the Game is a production of the OSIP Foundation, Incorporated. The producer-engineer of this episode is Sean Ryan. Music by Soundspring Studio. The executive producer of How You Play the Game is Jack Furlong. For more information, visit osipfoundation.org.